everyone, and welcome back. You are on the Real Road to Recovery broadcast show. My name is Marietta Trimble, and I am your host for tonight. And I have a very special guest. She is an author. Her name is Salena Mitchell Rawls, and she wrote the book, Dealing with the Unexpected. I cannot wait to hear her story. And please, Salena, welcome to the show, and please tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you, Marietta. It's an honor and a pleasure. I thank God for the opportunity to tell about my book. I'm a single mother with 3 children, and to be honest, that's the hardest question that I ever had to answer. Tell me about yourself. I guess I go based on what those say about me. I'm a strong person, love to laugh. And that's basically me, simple Salena.
Well, I'm just really excited. How did you come up with the title, Dealing with the Unexpected? Like, tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, well, several years ago, I was prophesied that I was to write a book. And the prophecy came from my pastor. And he's not a man who tells you you're going to get a house in 30 days or none of that. He's a true man of God. And the Sunday my husband died was the topic of his sermon, Dealing with the Unexpected. Yeah.
Wow, God shows up and just right at the right time. And you had no idea that the title of his sermon would be that. And God just showed up for you. Can you kind of walk us through what happened, if you can?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was preparation, and the title in itself, the events that led up to his death were definitely unexpected. A Sunday morning, we were preparing for church, praise and worship in the house like never before. The conversations were very strange. We got to church and got home, and didn't come home with us. Ended up at the hospital. And as I look back over the events, I really know that it was God that was leading me up to that particular point. And it all came to full fruition with dealing with the unexpected.
How long ago was this?
This February, it will be 4 years that he's passed. And it's been some trying times. The 4 years that he's gone, I've ran into so many different individuals that have crossed my path that have been dealing with the death of a loved one. And it's getting me to think that I'm supposed to really be in this place with dealing with people with grief out of nowhere. In the grocery stores, at my job, someone is always sharing their story with me, the death of a loved one. And here recently, my pastor, he just lost his second child. Him and his wife, they lost their second child in a tragic car accident. So it's a lot. It's a lot when you lose someone, it's a lot. But God is able and he's on the throne.
Yes, and so this happened before COVID.
Yes, with the death of my husband, it happened before COVID.
Did they say what the complications were? Was it just heart?
He had a bad heart. Yeah, he had a bad heart. And he had a bad heart as a result of being addicted to crack cocaine for many of years. And when I married him, I knew he had some issues, but I try to show love like God would show us love. And I was loving the person he was and not for the things that he did.
And that we all need that, just coming from a place of recovery. I mean, this is what the whole show is about.
Yes.
I mean, we're recovering from the loss of a loved one. and walking through that journey. I mean, just taking us through that journey, and you were able to inspire others by writing this book. And in this book, is that when the journey began, is when, you know, after your husband had passed, how long were you able to sit down and just like, okay, God, you gave me this title, let's get to work? Like how long?
It was at a point to where I needed to do something different in my life. I spoke to a friend of mine and I said, something has to change. I was prophesied about this book. I want to do this, I want to do that. And it just so happened, all the pieces fell into place. She was working with a publisher and she said, you're going to write this book. This is the first thing you're going to do. It was therapy. I cried at every chapter I wrote. But we all know that our life living is not for us, it's for God to get the glory, and it's to help someone else out. And so I'm grateful, you know, to have been to write the book, because I'm more of a talker than a writer.
Well, absolutely. I mean, God takes us through these seasons and we wonder when we're going through them, like, why am I going through this? And then you recognize that when you get to the other side, it is for someone else. And look at how many people you're already helping and inspiring through your story. And as painful it is, the pain is, there's purpose behind the pain. It's not for nothing.
It is.
And I'm just so grateful and thankful that you're able to write down your journey in this book.
Yes.
I'm blessed to know you, and take us through. I love the picture of, I'm just going to share a picture of your book.
Oh,
I love the road. Like, how did you come up with this picture?
it was God, Miss Marietta. It was literally God. When I saw it, I said, that's it. Because in our life, we're going to be three places. We're going to enter into a storm, that path. We're going to be in the midst of that storm, or we're going to be coming out of that storm. And that cover, and that's in the book, but that cover just depicts that long road. That road is your life. You know, you never know where you're going to be, what you're going to come across in your lifetime.
Absolutely. I mean, we all go through hills and valleys and bumps in the road, and you're overcoming them a little at a time. And I think that is such an inspiring story to share with others. And I'm sure that in your healing journey, that many people, like you said, have come across your path already. You've been able to minister to them.
Yes.
And how are your kids doing? You said your mother, how, like, are they here, living here, or?
I have three children. One is in California, one lives in Hinesville, and one is here in Savannah she lives here in Savannah. For the most part, they're coming along, you know, pretty much when time comes for his anniversary, the death of his anniversary, they get real emotional. But we hold tight to one another. You know,
Absolutely.
we talk about it, and I think that's the best thing for anyone to do when they're grieving, is to let it, you know, talk about it.
Absolutely. And the book, I'm sure, were they able to contribute a little bit about their journey as well, or is this something that's helping them, therapeutic for them?
It's helping them, therapeutic for them.
Wonderful. I thank you so much. Salena is our guest right now. And so we're going to come back and hear a little bit more about her story and what she's up to next, what God is doing in her life. But let's take a quick break.
Happy is an intentional and lifelong journey, but it's hard to change and grow towards higher levels of happy without knowing where you're starting from. Our Happy Quiz puts a starting pin on the map to your happy living and provides additional guidance and motivation along the way. Just go to happyliving.com and take the Happy Quiz to get started on your road to happy.
Hi, and welcome back. I am Marietta Trimble. I'm your host tonight on the Real Road to Recovery. And we are speaking tonight with our guest, Salena Mitchell Rawls. And she is an author of a beautiful book called Dealing with the Unexpected. And we're going to hear a little bit more about her story, walking through the journey of grief. And Salena, please tell us a little bit more how we can purchase your book.
Well, the story of grief is one that many face each and every day. And I've been blessed to be surrounded by people who were there for me, having had a nervous breakdown. And this book, I pull it out myself sometimes and read it. I wrote it, but I still read it. My book can be purchased on Amazon. And I'm also in a position to, to listen, to give any type of listening ear. When I went through what I went through with my husband's death, I would want to just talk, because I felt that talking about his death and talking about, all the events that led up to his death, it helped me to talk about it and not keep it bottled up. Again, I am a talker and I'm a listener, with communications and dealing with that, because when I had that breakdown, I couldn't do nothing but call on God. I called on my pastor's wife. She was there praying with me. I called on several individuals, but at the end of the day, I had to just talk and let it all out, and for those who are dealing with grief, that's the best, in my eyesight, that's the best way to keep yourself abreast, is by talking it out, through counselors, through, your ministry, even with me, if you feel led to contact me, I don't have a problem with that.
And how can people reach out to you?
Well, I have a website, I have a email address, and my email address is titled Dealing with Expectations at yahoo.com. It's opposite of my title, because you want to have an expectation of life. Grief is hard, but you still have to live after grief. The walls may seem like they're tumbling in, but you got to learn how to deal with the expectation of getting up and just living life till its fullest.
Absolutely. And you've just been such an inspiration and example how even walking through grief, you still found being on the other side of that, being able to walk with somebody else and taking their hand and walking through it. Because like you said, earlier we spoke and you said that a single person can't necessarily give somebody marriage advice, and you walking through the grief can actually walk through it because you walk that storm. And that's why I love your cover so much. It really inspires me, just reminding us that we all have bumps in the road. We all have hills and valleys. We all go through that journey. And someone that's experienced it, I encourage our listeners to reach out to Salena. And if you are out there listening and you are dealing with grief, there are grief counselors. You can either even reach out to your own pastor, and like Salena said, reach out to your pastor's wife or a good friend. It's just really good to let it out and to talk about it. So I know that your book is very inspiring. Do you have like words of encouragement that you can share with our listeners?
I do. When I think about encouraging words to share with someone who's dealing with the grief of a lost loved one, I'm always led to tell them, never allow anyone to put your grief in a box. Grieving has no rules. There's no rules to grieving. And grieving does not have a time frame. You take it one day at a time. You're going to forever grieve, but you grieve the way you feel led to grieve.
Right. So, I mean, I know that there's people handle grief in different ways. I mean, I lost my dad, and I know it's a shock, especially when it is unexpected, like you share in your book.
Yes.
And I thank you so much just for being on our show and just sharing your journey. And I encourage everyone to purchase her book, Dealing with the Unexpected. As Salena mentioned, you can buy it on Amazon Books. And please reach out. There's people out there that have walked this walk, and they can help you and encourage you. And you're not alone.
Yes.
You're not alone in this, especially people coming out of COVID. We've lost so many loved ones.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So thank you, Salena, for being my guest. And if you would like to be a guest on our show, you can go to wytv7.org and go to under the broadcasters, Real Road to Recovery. If you have a story you'd like to share on my show, I'd love to have you. And you can also, I have also written a book, this time on the right track. And it's a journey of walking through various things, cancer, healing from addiction, divorce, and just so many things. Like you said, we all have ups and downs and valleys that we all walk through. And mine was just getting back on the right track. And I do have a book club that's starting in December. If you'd like to be part of that, you can go to my website at wmlifeministries.com. Thank you so much, Salena, for being my guest. I just thank you for your spirit. I thank you for sharing your words of encouragement. And it took a lot of courage and strength to come and share your journey with us. So God bless you.
God bless you. I appreciate you.
Yes. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week on the Real Road to Recovery. Have a good night.